Hey, Ben. Hey, Justin. Hey, Brittany.
Hey, David! Yeah, I know there's a quarantine and COVID. You know what would make you feel better? You want to play some games together? Some role-playing games? Yeah, hey, you want to play some games? How do you feel about playing some role-playing games tonight? Yeah, you probably would need a computer, yeah. Roll20's free. Got things to do? Hello? Oh, you're selling candles? You want to play video games? Okay. Yeah, I understand. I'm calling you on an iPod Classic. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, you got things to do. Maybe tomorrow? Yeah, I'm calling you on an iPod Classic. Yes, I understand that's impossible. Tuesday. Brittany already warned you I'm going to ask you about playing role-playing games. Wednesday? You don't want to play. You don't want to play. I'll figure something out. And I don't know why it says iPod Classic on your caller ID. Alright, I'll figure something out. Surely there's gotta be somebody out there. What? What's going on, YouTube? It's time for Swade's Corner. We're gonna be going over the Savage Worlds Solo Gaming Guide. This gaming guide was written by Peter Rudin Burgess. My name's Glenniford, and if you're interested in more swag content, more Savage Worlds content, more role-playing content, don't forget, like, subscribe, click that notification bell. Solo role-playing, probably a needed thing right now with everything going on with COVID and quarantine. It's a lot harder to get together. He makes sure that he gives you a nice little rundown in terms of what to expect from solo role-playing. He goes into topics like scene generation, jumping right into the action, asking questions and what that means. Lastly, improvisation. Next, we jump into the close oracle question, and he makes sure that he does a good job of explaining what that even means, because if you're new to solo role-playing, all of this is very foreign and strange and serious. So a closed question oracle is going to be yes or no questions. To do this, you need to determine the likelihood of something actually happening. So you're going to take your likelihood dice, and then you're also going to have a wild die, just like you would in Savage Worlds. If something is unlikely, you're going to be rolling a d4. If something is very likely, you're going to be rolling a d12. It's worth noting that there is no exploding dice, unlike Savage Worlds, but the maximum number is relevant. Because it's likely, you would roll your d10 and your d6 wild die. If it's a success, which we know from Savage Worlds is a 4, under these circumstances, let's say I roll a 5 on my d10. Is the door locked? Yes, the door is locked. What if we got a 10? If we did get a 10, which is the max number on the likelihood die, or it could also be a 6 on the wild die, it would be a yes and. So let's say, for example, I go to check to see if the door is locked, and yes, it is. But also, the noise that I made going up to that door alerts the dogs in the house, and the dogs are now barking. Next, we have the open question oracle, which this is a lot of fun. Let's say, for example, maybe you run around to the side fence, you see something going on in the backyard. You need to kind of make sense of the situation and run with it. What do you think you might see in that backyard? You don't have to ask a question on every little thing. If the dogs are barking and you have reason to believe that they're maybe doing some shisty stuff back there, everyone goes to check and there's an altar in the backyard. And on that altar is something. What is it? Use the card decks. They use the different suits for different themes, and then every single card has a different improvisational prompt for you. Back to our example. So what is on the altar? The 7 of Spades. The 7 of Spades is a strange creation. So now you take that prompt and there's something on the altar, strange creation. What comes to mind? The beauty of this is 5 people could run the same scenario with the same thing and get different results. What I'm thinking, strange creation, immediately what comes to mind is that there's some type of necromantic or like a Frankenstein situation on this altar. Maybe they succeeded with this strange creation. Maybe this ritual is to bring some type of demonic being for it to be a vessel, and maybe they like sewed it together and they performed the ritual, they utilized the components, they said the magic words, and poof, this strange creation now exists. How are you gonna deal with it? It's worth noting that these are questions that cannot simply be answered with a yes or no. You can have a lot of fun with it. You really can. If there's no GM here, which is why, you're the single player, you can't know. That's where the oracles come in. Bennies, bennies, bennies. This is genius. And it's based on something that already exists in Savage Worlds. The hard choices setting rule, optional setting rule. In that optional setting rule, anytime a player spends a Benny, it goes to the GM. That's what's going to drive the Benny circulation. When you spend your Bennies, the opposition now has it. When the opposition spends their Bennies, you have Bennies, and don't forget, anything that is cinematic, go for it, because that's what's going to make a cool story. There's also a blurb in here talking about creative combat, because this is absolutely perfect for this situation. So you roll in the creative combat table, and this could give you this can give you another turn. Do also mention dumb luck as well, although it's not entirely recommended unless you are literally like the lone warrior. I think failure can be fun, as long as it's not when you're rolling to bleed out. More skill points. This makes sense. Then from there, they go into some solo play advice. Do you want to start at seasoned? Maybe you want to upgrade faster than you would normally. Now, this is really fun and really interesting. Time and flashbacks. So you could start your game at the end. That conflict is going to set the stage. So all of your quests are going to be that set of criteria that you're now trying to meet. Let's say you're fighting the big bad. You have this epic dragon scale armor. Well, how did you get that epic dragon scale armor? Don't forget, you're looking at the end. You probably didn't just walk out of the tavern with dragon scale armor on. All of these details are very important. You're gonna find yourself asking why or how. How did I get this thing? Why did I go there? What happened to this person? Maybe a certain character died in the middle of the fight and that was a big deal. Who is that character? Why is that character so important? And then there's also the flashbacks, and this is the very Blades in the Dark section here, where maybe you didn't do something that you normally would have. It's completely within your character. Maybe bribe the guard. Oh, then you can just have that flashback and just say, yeah, instead of, I'm here now, but it makes sense that maybe I would have bribed that guard. And then you have a lot of options at your disposal. Do you want to just do a quick encounter, a social conflict? Do you just want to say it happened and make it so? It's just you and the book. So do whatever you want. Go crazy, whatever's fun. And then there's the what if scenarios. So maybe whenever you're fighting this big bad inside of a volcano, maybe there's a part where we mentioned a important character died. That important character died because you decided to focus on fighting the big bad instead of saving your friend. So now you can kind of go back, and what happens if you went back and saved your friend instead of fighting the big bad? You go back and then you change your decision. You now have this alternate parallel universe situation. DC and Marvel does it all the time, and you should too. Maybe you died taking option A, but with option B, you retired a humble farmer, had 12 kids. Then we're gonna go into journaling, which might sound odd, maybe, but it's not. It actually makes perfect sense. You should probably be taking notes to some degree anyways. You're going to be able to just write down what is happening, what has happened, just to keep track. Because whenever you have those improvisational prompts, and you're trying to tie it to something and you're kind of struggling, look at those notes. And also you want to keep track of your important NPCs, places, items. That's definitely going to help. You might forget, and because it's just you playing, you can kind of play whenever. Here you are 3 weeks later, forgetting because you didn't write anything down. Shame on you. Connect the pieces that make it an interesting narrative. The narrative always takes first priority. If you're used to like traditional role-playing games, that transition is going to be a little easier going from playing Savage Worlds in a group to playing Savage Worlds solo with this rule set, in my opinion. It uses a lot of things that you're familiar with, like wild die, card deck, setting rules, optional setting rules that you could throw into your game, NPC reaction table, creative combat. There's a lot of things in Savage Worlds that work perfectly with this. Quick encounters come to mind, dramatic tasks, chases, the social conflicts. I 100% understand that this is not for everyone. I don't know about you, but we've all been in one of those games that everyone is really excited about for like 8 sessions. And then after that 8th session, things just kind of fizzle out. For you, maybe you personally put a lot of effort into that character. You find yourself thinking, man, I'm really interested in where this character may have gone. Why didn't we continue pursuing these artifacts? Have ultimate freedom and enjoy the Savage Worlds solo role-playing guide and see those stories through. In addition to that, maybe it's not a conclusion that you're looking for. Maybe in your game, maybe your character jumped in immediately and was already dealing with the dragon cult, for example. Now you can kind of find yourself in like a prequel situation. Why is my character so obsessed with the dragon cult? Maybe it's a thing that's in your backstory. Now you can play out your backstory. Just crazy talk here. Maybe you could even use this to build a character backstory. Just remember, keep it narrative, keep it fun. My name is Glenford. This has been the Savage Worlds solo game guide. And if this interests you or additional swag content, feel free to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, throw some comments down there. If there's something else that you're interested in, you're just like, hey, Glenford, is this thing good? I'm curious. I've been wanting to buy it, but I'm unsure. Let me know. Throw it down there. There's a good chance I might already own it. I might have already played with it. So I will go ahead and throw the link down in the doobly-doo. The price. What is the price, Glenford? Well, for this product, currently it is $3.99. If you find yourself in quarantine, sad and alone, looking to get your game on, but nobody wants to play, do it. My name's Glenford. This has been Swag's Corner, and I'm signing out.